J Media.
Welcome back to Ignyte Your podcast, where real talk meets real purpose. I'm your host, Austin T. Gullett, and every week we break down powerful topics that help you tap into your story, challenge your thinking, and ignite your why. So let's get into it. This week we have an amazing co-host. My girl, Erica Almquist, is back on the mic for the third time, but in a different capacity. I'm super excited because I love Erica. Erica, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, and I'm so excited to co-host, but I don't know what that means. So we're going to have a great time today figuring it out.
Well, today's topic is the glows and grows of being a content creator, which I feel like we have a lot to talk about. I feel like there's more grows than glows for me. I don't know about you.
I feel that, but I feel like that's kind of probably going to be everybody when they listen. They're going to relate.
It's all good. Just do some quick intros here. If you're new here, I'm Austin T. Gullett, your host. I've been hosting this podcast for 4 years. This is the only kind of content creation that I do besides social media for my job, but it's just something I truly love to do, and it's just fun. It just brings out a different side of me. Like, Erica, do you want to tell people a bit about who you are real quick?
Well, if you haven't guessed it, my name is Erica, but I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, creative director, composer, sorry, my stomach is also grumbling so loudly. I'm so sorry. Fashion product photographer, but I also work in marketing because I don't know. And yeah, I do a lot of content day to day. And that's my day job, but also for photography and music. So I think we're both we're ready to talk about this topic.
Erica does a lot, y'all, as you can tell. Like that stressed me out listening to it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like, how do you do it?
I don't.
But you do it and you kill it. You slay. It's fine.
We try our best.
So let's talk about the glows of being a content creator, because I feel like that's what people truly care about, is like the glitz and glam and the fame that people just automatically assume that comes with being a content creator. And when you really think about content creating, I think people have it in their mind that like, oh, I want to be famous. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, like I want this many followers. I want this and that. But when you think of some of the glows to content creating, what is one moment that made you feel so aligned with your purpose?
It's not a moment that I had like online. I don't know about you, but also sometimes just offline. There are moments where that kind of like drive your purpose a little bit more, because I think online it can get a little convoluted and a little lost in the numbers. But for me, one moment where I felt really aligned to my purpose, and that kind of helped me see that those numbers aren't really as important as I thought they were. When I was in most of my 20s, I've been feeling kind of ashamed and strange for not wanting the normal things in life. I guess the normal path in life, which is, kids, house. That's the Cincinnati way. But I had a moment where I realized that maybe my purpose is not in being a mother, and it's not being like a housemaker or anything like that. Maybe it's more one that creates connection and art and understanding for maybe a larger audience. So that's something that's kind of made me feel a little bit more aligned in my purpose. And kind of now that I have that moment in real life, I'm taking that to social media and being a little bit more loud about my voice and kind of trying to shield myself from those numbers, because they'll follow the more that I align with my purpose in real life. I think that will then align with my purpose on social media. I know that's a very weird, and we went through some paths there. Yeah. But I'm wondering if maybe you felt the same way. Have you, like, what's a moment for you where you felt really aligned with your purpose?
See, I think it's different and a little bit different from you, right? Where I feel like for me, it was like when I started this podcast, I was kind of like afraid. Like I didn't know like how it would go, or kind of like if people would like be receptive of it. But I think like where it really hit for me was when people like were just like, damn, like that was awesome. Right. And it was kind of like that validation. And it just made me personally feel like, okay, like this is what it is. Because I knew like I started this podcast to make a difference and to like touch people, and I felt like, oh, like how can I do that effectively, like doing this? And when I posted the first like episode ever, and it kind of just like blew up in a sense in my eyes, like it's my most played episode ever. So it's like one of those things where I was like, okay, like maybe maybe me sharing my story was like where I was like hit home for me. But I think I find a lot of like moments where I feel like I'm aligned with my purpose truly outside of this podcast, where it's interacting with kids and helping kids reach their full potential. So I feel like I have kind of two different purposes where it's like, yes, like my purpose is like not necessarily two different purposes, but my purpose can be served in two different ways. Where it's like this
I
podcast, my
agree.
purpose is like reaching other people, connecting with them, helping them figure out what ignites their why and how they can move forward or challenge them and make them think differently. Where in my everyday like life and work, it's working with kids and challenging those kids to think differently to truly meet their full potential because you have so much hope for these kids, but sometimes you just got to pull it out of them. And I think that's kind of where it comes
Mhm.
from for me. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree. And kids are our future. So the fact that you're investing in them and putting a lot of energy into them, I think that that's like doing God's
Because
work. So,
they deserve it. They deserve it. And I think that's the
oh,
thing is like it shouldn't matter like where you come from, what you look like, or anything of that nature. Like you have a purpose and you have a promising future. And I always tell people it's
mhm,
just we as adults have to give them those resources for them to be successful. That's really what it comes down
100%.
to. What
Mhm.
makes Johnny more deserving of an opportunity than Sally over there? He doesn't. Like they deserve a fair, equitable opportunity. And I think that's kind of why God put me on this earth is to make a
Oh,
difference in that capacity.
see, I also agree. I think that I kind of, because I do so much and I'm
Hmm.
trying to show people that you are capable of doing hard things. You're capable of just when you put your mind to it, there's I really believe there's nothing that you can't accomplish. And so, and even if you necessarily fail, it means it's realigning you to like
You take a
your
lesson.
real purpose. Yeah. So I totally agree with you. And okay, I'll move on to like another question because
Hmm.
when I think you kind of already mentioned this with your first episode, but when did your message ignite something in someone else? I feel like you get to do this every week, and I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I think it just hits when, like, I think last episode we had when we talked about perfectionism, and someone was like,
Hmm.
I needed to hear this. And it was like, this is why I do this because it's like those little moments where I didn't know this person. They just commented on the YouTube video. It's like, I needed to hear this. And it was just so fulfilling because, like, I'm very self critical of like my work. I think any content creator can be because we strive for that perfectionism. So if you want to learn more about perfectionism, go check out last week's episode because it is amazing, or 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, but like the last episode we dropped. But I think that's what it really comes down to is like seeing those comments when people are like, yes, like I relate to this or this is awesome. And it's like those little things of like, okay, like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh, see, that's so beautiful. That's what I hope to do with like music and photography. I just hope that we kind of get to put
Hmm.
that message out there and we get to inspire people to like want to do amazing things and like really not so focus on that perfectionism, but really focus on, I mean, when you strive for something to be perfect, then I think you kind of take away from it being good or
Hmm.
great. So I totally agree with that.
And I
But
think
oh my
it comes
gosh.
to a point where it's like you're not looking for people's validation. Like I'm not looking for that
Hmm.
anymore, but it feels nice when you get it. Where it's like I'm doing this
Yes, of
for
course.
me. I'm doing this for me now, like not for other people. Like yes, the goal is to inspire other people, but it's also not like gonna eat me up at night like where it's like, okay, like was this like good enough or anything like that. So
Oh,
it's kind of just like
100%.
it's out there, so it is what it is. So I'm gonna reverse question you and ask you,
Ooh.
when do you feel like your message ignited someone else?
Well, recently I met up with a cinematographer, director friend of mine, and we're working on a really cool project. And
Hmm.
we were spitballing ideas. And I had said I really liked, I don't know if anybody knows the good old BTS, this Korean pop band. But back in the day, they would make these music videos that drew from like Greek mythology. And it was
Hmm.
very like, there was a lot of depth to it and a lot of like Easter eggs and things like that. And I was like, I want to do something with that with more depth. And like the way he lit up and he was just so excited to get started on like collaborating on this and like no egos in the room,
Hmm.
no trying to be perfect for just like, what if we created this entire universe? And so we're working, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but we're working on something really, really cool. But I think having that unbelievably like cool moment where you're both like, we have something
Mm.
good here. Now we're gonna cook on this. And it's like, I really believe that when
Let
I
her
work on
cook.
music. Yes, let her cook. But
Should eat.
I'm gonna eat in this next one. But I think that I'm a big believer, like whenever I work on music, whenever I work on photography, anything like that, and that's hard with photography because you're working with
Hmm.
models a lot of the time. I always try to work with people who are really willing to check their egos at the door. Because like ego kind of it's like perfectionism. It kind of gets in
Hmm.
the way of creating something meaningful and good and something with depth to it. So I think we're kind of on that same wavelength of like, we don't want it to be too perfect. We can't be perfect. We don't we don't need any egos.
Yes. Make
So
it
I love
messy.
that. Yes.
Make it a bit
That's what
messy.
I love that.
Imperfection. Like I've been trying to like live my life imperfectly. And I
Yes.
think just trying to just go with the flow and letting life happen. And
That's what I've been trying to do.
we'll see where we go with it. Kind of want to get
No,
into
I
this.
love that for you.
Appreciate it. I kind of want to go into like the big chunk of being a content creator, which I think everyone loves the glow moments, like I said before, but there's so many more grows to being a content creator than the glows, I feel like, because I feel like it's like uncomfortable, but it's the real behind being a content creator. Like you can do burnout, content fatigue, doubting your own
It's cringy.
messages. And it's just like you get, you've said it before, like you get caught up in the numbers and like lose sight
Mhm.
of like the true mission that you're trying to accomplish. So my question is who are you when you feel like the likes and the numbers aren't coming in? Like how do you become like how do you grow through those grow moments, if that makes sense?
I think that's probably one of the hardest part. I'm a very impatient person, and
Hmm.
that being said, I don't quit easily. Whenever I get something like that where I don't see numbers, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get it, but I don't know when. And I had this moment recently where I've been posting, like, I think a lot of really good quality content, but
Hmm.
not getting any sort of engagement. For a while, there was like drier than the Sahara. But like in those moments, I'm not gonna lie to you, the last moment I had was really ugly. It was not my best moment. And I was like, I was kind of being a brat to God because I was like, I thought that we had a deal that if like you gave me the numbers, I was gonna like show people that if they have purpose or we had a mission. And then like God was
Hmm.
like, well, you need to set like 10 steps back. And then he gave me even less. And I had to sit in that discomfort. And I had to really sit there and be like, whoa, I forgot why we were even doing this.
Be
It's not
humble.
for my glory. Cause I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
I think we all want to be appreciated for our talents, for our voice, our topic that we want to bring to the world. But if we only focus on like us, I think that we kind of have a problem where we're just like,
Mhm.
well, I'm not getting the numbers I want, so I'm unhappy. And that's human.
Yeah, and I
All
think
that to say.
it's so easy to chase numbers because I think that
Mhm,
people put so much of the emphasis nowadays on like how many likes you have, how many followers you have, and you just kind
mhm,
of see the highlight reel of everyone's like successes, and it's just like, oh, like I just hit 50,000 plays, or I just hit like a million streams or a million followers or whatever it may be, and you're just like, damn, what do I got to do? And it's like people are like, oh, just be consistent, be consistent. Okay, like I can be consistent for so long, but then you get to this point where you get to that like content fatigue where it's like draining to even continue to make content because it gets so kind of like self-defeating where it's just like damn, like you feel like this is great content and you feel like it can be like doing better numbers, but it's just like you struggle like internally of like how can I make it better, how can I get to that point, because it's like I feel like
mhm.
I'm doing everything I can, I'm posting, I'm sharing, I'm trying to do as much as I can like with the time that I have, and it ultimately can lead to burnout. And I think the biggest thing with burnout when it comes to content creating is like when you take a break, a lot of the times we feel guilty
Yeah,
of in a sense of
100%.
like, oh, like I'm trying to give this person like give these people content, but it's like mentally draining for me. So
Mhm.
like could you tell me about a time where like you had to take a break where you felt guilty about it, but it was necessary for you to get to where you are today?
I took a 6-month break like a couple of years ago, I literally had people messaging me and being like, "Are you dead? Like, where are you?" And I was just like, I don't have the energy. I can't post anything. I hated seeing my face because you even get to a point because we're really not supposed to see our faces this often. You know, it used to be we saw them like in a mirror in a pool, you know, like in a pool of water, you know, like
Right.
we didn't really get this close up and like we could see every wrinkle, everything. You know, when you take a break, you step back from that, you kind of get back into reality. So I think that that was really important to take a break, but also to, again, come back to what is my purpose? Why am I doing this? Is it for
Hmm.
me and my own glory, or is it for like a maybe a larger purpose in, you know, in the grand scheme of things? But I actually, for you, I have a question because
Hmm.
I know that you've also decided, oh, I'm going to take breaks. And I'm just kind of curious, how do you feel when you come back from a break? Do you feel guilty? Do you feel like you missed out on something?
So like I don't feel like I don't feel guilty. Like, right? Like I think when I took a break, I took a year off, like a whole
Mhm.
year. And it wasn't, and you can probably say it was even longer than a year because like I did drop like 2 solo episodes. I was like, oh, these are gonna be more consistent. And then I just like fell off the face of the earth. Um, so it was like one of those things where like I didn't necessarily feel guilty because I knew like my mind wasn't on like my podcast, like my mind was elsewhere, like it was focusing on me, my internal healing and like adjusting to like a new job. So I knew like
Mhm.
trying to add on to like what I was already doing, I felt like it would have been detrimental to my fans and like my family, the people that listen to this podcast because they wouldn't be getting the content that they deserved because I wasn't
Yeah.
fully there. So like when I came back, like it was like I was excited. Like I was happy, like I felt
Oh.
like rejuvenated, like I was super pumped. Like I feel like you can go back to like the beginning of season 8, like the beginning of this like first like episode I dropped this year, and you can just see the excitement in my face, and I just was smiling the whole time. And I think it came down to I didn't truly know I was missing it until I sat down in front of this camera and microphone and was like, oh my gosh, like I truly miss this. It was like it's like an aha moment for me, right? It was like, oh, like I'm doing this for me. Like this fuels me. This makes me feel good. This makes me happy. Not like I'm not doing this for other people. Like I didn't bring the podcast back because it was for other people. It was one of those things where it's like I want to do this for myself. And I think that's where like the content creation like becomes like a little better and it makes it more enjoyable. But like, yeah, like I think the hard part for me is being consistent and bringing out an episode like every week. Like that's hard. So like
Mhm.
sometimes like you might get an episode every week. Sometimes it might be every other week. And I think it's okay for me to do that. And I think people will listen when it comes out. And if they don't, they don't. If they do, they do. But I'm doing this for me. And I think I'm also in like a transition period with this podcast where I feel like I'm transitioning how I want this podcast to run and how I want the episodes to kind of flow, and trying to expand my audience a little bit more. So you can kind of tell in this episode, like it's a little bit different. The intro was a little bit different. So we're trying something new. So just trying to really grow this podcast the way I can. And I think that's the best thing that like we can do.
I agree. That was beautifully said.
Yeah. So appreciate it. And I think like just when we are thinking of like this topic of like being a content creator and like the grows and the glows and grows of being a content creator, there's a quote that like I just want to drop for you guys because I think it's a big, big nugget. So you ready for this one?
Hmm.
You can't be purpose driven and perfection obsessed at the same time. Something has to give. I'm gonna say that again. You cannot be purpose driven and perfection obsessed at the same time. Something has to give. Because if you're trying to be a perfectionist and you're about to giving this perfect product, you're losing your purpose
Hmm.
because you're no longer
I
living in that
agree.
purpose if you're trying to be a perfectionist. Ooh,
I'm a recovering
sit with that.
perfectionist.
Sit with it.
So
Sit with it.
that
You
speaks to me.
cannot, yeah, like you cannot live in your purpose if you're trying to be perfect because it's a fake thing you're giving out. Like it's a fake product. not, I wouldn't say a fake product, but it's not the true purpose that you're trying to live in.
Now, are you a recovering perfectionist or?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I
And
thought.
I talk about it in the last episode.
I thought so, but I was like, what if he was, I don't know. What if he's not
Mm-mm.
like, I don't
And
know.
I've been
I
this
like
way
to
since
check
I
with
was a
people.
kid, right? I've been this way since I
Mm-hmm.
was a child. And I think it really stemmed from me trying to be like a perfectionist from being an athlete, because
Yeah.
I played on 3 different basketball teams growing up, and I, not gonna lie, I was really good, right? And I could
Oh,
have like,
tea.
I feel like if I stayed with it, I could have played in college, but I walked away in high school, and that's a different story for another day. But the point is like every time like I would play, like my coaches would yell at me, regardless if I was doing good or if I was doing bad, right? Every time I made a mistake, I was being yelled at. But even if I was doing something good, I was being yelled at. And like the coaches were like, it's because when we're yelling at you, you work harder, you push harder. Like, and it was like one of those things where it was like, one, like I didn't want to make a mistake because I didn't want to be yelled at. So it kind of like translated to everything in life, where it was just like I felt like if I made a mistake, I was just gonna get my ass chewed out, and I just didn't want to do that. So I set like these high standards of trying to like be perfect, and it
I
just stuck with
think
me.
I think people who are perfectionists, I think they have a very similar story. For me, it was more
Mhm.
about how I was raised, so I love my
Childhood
parents,
trauma.
but yeah,
We
unfortunately,
love
there
it.
is sometimes, yeah, when that comes out sometimes still.
It's okay. We're learning and growing. So I want to go to my freaking next segment here,
Oh,
which is going to be just like a rapid fire kind of questions for you. All right. So we're going to call this real or cap. All right.
okay.
All
And
right.
do we give like a long-winded answer, or we just say real or gap?
I mean, if you want to expand on a certain one of them, you can, but, or if
Okay.
you want to just go through them and then kind of come back and kind of talk on certain things, we can do that as well. So I feel like
Okay.
let's rapid fire them real quick. And then if there's one that stands out to you, we can just go back to it after we're done. Ready?
Okay.
All right, real or cap? You have to post every day to stay relevant.
Cap.
Followers equals income.
Cap.
If you're not monetizing, what's the point?
Cap.
And you need a niche.
That's real. Real.
Mm, okay.
All right. Now for
Okay.
mine. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Your content has to be polished to be taken seriously.
Cap.
Burnout is the same as ambition.
Ooh. Burnout is the same as ambition. Mm, I feel like that could be real. Maybe cap,
Okay, all
because
right.
burnout is real.
Creativity without discipline is just potential.
Say that again.
Creativity without discipline is just potential.
I feel like that's real. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And you're just behind. Or, wait, sorry, let me rephrase this. You're behind, not building in silence.
You're behind, not building in silence as cap, right? No, wait,
Wait, no,
right?
that's T. I think so. I think that's,
Because you're not
yeah.
behind, you're building in silence. Like that's real, but
Yeah.
like the way you put it, like what? A cap, right?
I wanted it to sound a little negative there. I
I
wanted
was
to
like,
get you.
I was like,
I
you
wanted
just
to get you.
threw me. You just threw me. I feel like yours were
Oh man.
so much better than mine. Like, damn.
No, mine were just like kind of silly. But let's go back through the ones that you said.
Real or cap? Hmm. So, why do you think it's real that you have to have a niche to be a content creator?
I think when you hone in on like your superpower, and I think that that is a little because your niche, like we are all very specific. I think when you hone in on what that is specifically,
Hmm.
nobody can kind of like compete on that space with you very well. Like, because it's you. I don't know how to put this very nicely, like very succinctly, but if you just hone in on like who you are and like because you are niche, I think that is, you're going to be filling a space that's not filled already. So you're going to be providing something like value to the
Mm,
world that's not already being given.
I agree with
I
you. I'm
learned
not
that in
gonna lie to you.
entrepreneurship class.
Like, I
So
agree
thank you.
because you don't want to put like, it's like you want to have like a specific thing that is just like yours. Like, this is what this is. And because when you don't have that, that's when you just kind of like go all over the place and you're just like, okay, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
Well, and that's not to say that you couldn't be successful doing what everybody
right.
else is doing, but it'll be very short term and it'll be very hyped. And then you might fizzle out into something, into, you know,
It's like
you might
everything,
just
it's like
fizzle out.
constantly changing where it's like, oh, I'm doing this right now.
Mhm.
But then it's like, oh, like, let me do this or let me do this. And it's just like, it's like a roller coaster in your head.
Yeah,
That's what I'm getting at.
exactly.
So the real one that kind of was like for me when you was like quick to answer when you said you have to post every day to stay relevant, and you was like
I think
Cat.
that's cap.
I
I
do
think it's
too,
cap
and I
because,
think
yeah,
people
I think so.
put this pressure on you to post every single day, and like I just feel like I don't think it's
The
realistic if it's
world
not your full-time job. Like, let's be real.
Well, the world is like is already so full of content. And it gets to
Hmm.
the point where it's just like, do we really need to add another happy birthday post or do we need to add another 4th of July out? You know, it gets to a point where it's just like, I think we need to be
Hmm.
focusing on the quality of the content because I think that's going to speak way more than just posting every single day. Because then you're just adding stuff into the world. It's not even your best work. I just
Yeah.
think as a marketer myself, like I just
I
can't
remember when
like
someone
every
told me,
day.
like, when I was getting started, they're like, you need to post 3 times a day to
Absolutely
like
not. Nobody's
to
gonna
reach
watch
people
that.
to reach people to like get the because they're like, oh, you post once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening because you're gonna hit different people. And I'm just like, who the hell has the energy to do that? I don't.
No,
I barely have the energy to post every day, like, let alone trying to do it 3 times a day. Like, that's insane to me.
nope,
Like,
nope. And I
I
also
think,
don't think the algorithm will like hold on to something like that because it's too frequent. It's too much.
and frick this algorithm. Like, let's be completely real. Like, I can't even figure that shit out.
Well, I do know that it's definitely pay to play. Like everything else in the world, it's completely pay to play now. So if you want to be
Yeah.
seen, there's no such thing as organic growth. That is a thing that is quickly dying out, which makes sense because as a growth marketer myself, I'm always thinking about, okay, well, how are we going to make the company more money? Like what are we going to do to get to the next step? And that's what Meta's doing. You know, they're not doing anything that's like completely unheard of. Like they're just trying to
Yeah.
make more money. But how do you do that? Well, if you want to be seen by even your own followers, guess what? Now you
You
have to
got to
pay.
pay for this ad.
They won't
Fuck
ever
that.
say this.
Fuck
They
that.
will
I'm not
not
doing
ever
it.
say that. I
I'm
know.
not doing
I'm
it.
like, do not pay. But because
Just
the
like I'm
second
not
that you
paying for that
do
blue
pay for
check.
it,
I'm not paying for that blue check either. Like, I'm a real ass person, but
IGT,
I don't need a check to verify it for me.
no, absolutely not. I just, yeah, no. I have lots of feelings on the algorithm. I think that it's totally
Trash.
I have a lot of feelings on the algorithm. But anyway, we'll go on to the next one.
It's all good. So, what advice would you have for any content creators that are kind of in the trenches right now?
I would say to keep using your voice. Authenticity is like,
Mhm.
somebody who works in social media and that sphere of things, authenticity is what people are craving right now. I know that we're kind of going back to a time where everything is very polished and like makeup done, hair done, like everything like perfect, but I do think that authenticity prevails and I think that that is
Yeah.
what keeps an audience because they want that. For some people, it's the mess and the drama. So that's what
Messy.
keeps people invested. Yeah. I mean, if you look at lots of PR for some of the top artists, if you look at Sabrina Carpenter, Ariana Grande, a lot of,
Let me
people are
tell you,
invested
right
for a
now,
reason.
Love Island
Yeah.
is the thing, and I'm obsessed. And I'm glued to my TV at 8:36 every single night it comes
Oh,
on.
damn.
Besides
He
on
is
Sunday,
clocked in.
besides on Saturdays because I'm not watching After Sun because I don't care about that. But like the finale, like this episode's coming out tomorrow, so like the finale's tonight. And there's just so many things that I could say about this show because one, like I don't understand how Iris and Pepe made it to the finals over Shelly and Ace. And there's just so many things that like I could just go on about Love Island because I'm obsessed. And I really
I
hope,
didn't know this about you.
girl, I just don't
Oh, that
post
being
about it.
said, maybe authenticity is not what people want. People want manufactured authenticity. That's what they want.
I'm
There we
telling
go.
you, like I'm just like glued to this like TV every night. hmm
Oh my
I
gosh,
was
that's
there
me
like
with my shows, so it's okay.
I was just like the finales tonight, and if a certain couple wins, I'm gonna be so pissed. But I'm not gonna say it because I don't want people in my comments. But
Oh, this is
anyways,
like it's the whole thing. I've been seeing all the buzz, but I can't get into that kind of reality
I
TV.
think like what makes it so addicting is like you get a new episode like 6 days of the 7 days. Like it's every night. So it's like you're just like invested. You're just like, what the hell's going on? And it's a bit messy.
Oh.
It can be a bit messy, you know?
Oh, listen, I'm a Scorpio. I love a little bit of mess, but not too much.
I feel
But
like we should get back on topic here. Back on topic.
I have a question for you. What's your message to someone who's scared to start?
I had this on the last episode, right? Where it's just like whether you're scared to start or anything, like just do it, right? Because being scared is just holding back from your true potential because you never know who you can reach, who's going to like it, who's not going to like it. Like you'll never know if you don't try. And even if you like, I think a lot of the times people are scared to start because they're trying to make it perfect and they're
Yeah,
trying to like figure out like how can I make this better when it's like if this could be the best product you have, but you won't know because you're trying to nitpick every little thing that you're doing. So just post it, just do it.
that's what I'm
What's
doing
the
music.
yeah,
It's not
like
perfect, but it'll
what's
get
the worst
there.
thing that can happen? I can tell people all the time, like if it's a post, post it. If it's a song, release it. If it's a poem, publish it. Like whatever it is that you're doing, fucking do it. Like
Yeah.
don't sit here and try to sugarcoat like, oh, like it's just not there. It's not there for you,
The
but it could be there for
the
someone else.
thing the thing that I always say is think about how scary it will be thinking what if when you're 70 years old. Like,
Mm,
how horrifyingly sad that will be to like
yeah.
have that sitting on you. So
And I
that's
think that's
just
the
what
scary
a
thing
charming thing
about
to
a lot
think.
of things is the what ifs. Like you can always have those what ifs and you're like, what if I post this and like people don't like it? Okay. And what if you
Yeah.
never post it and you live life and you look back and you're like, oh fuck, I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have did
My
that.
favorite My favorite thing is this meme. It's like a picture of the Earth like rotating, and like somebody will be like, "Wow, the Earth, if somebody doesn't like you, still rotating, still going. The Earth, if you like decide like you post
Clock
something and
it.
people don't like it, it's still going. It's not gonna stop. Still rolling.
Mhm.
So
That
you might
is
as well just do it."
facts. I agree. So my last question for you is what would you say to a content creator that feels invisible?
Um, I felt like this in my real life, so I think I'm very aware of what the feeling of being invisible is like.
Mhm.
Sometimes being invisible is actually very comfy. So for me, I'll work so hard. And then something will start to catch on and I'll be like, whoa, 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 pull it back a little bit. That's a little scary. So I'm gonna say you need to use your voice and you need to be comfortable with using your voice and you need to be comfortable with being scrutinized. That's really that sucks. You're never gonna be necessarily comfortable, but you need to get like used to the idea that you're putting yourself out there to be judged by people who don't know you. They don't know you. They don't know what you're dealing with. They don't really care. But if you feel invisible, I would go back to real life and just start learning to use your voice. Therapy's great for that. I would go to therapy. If you're feeling invisible, please, please go.
I
You're not
love
invisible.
therapy.
You are so loved and your voice is very important. So for me, I would say, because I have such experience with this, I would start with the real life where it's kind of scary and just like really
Mhm.
work on putting yourself out there before, well, maybe sometimes in conjunction with posting online. I think that that's very important. I think we're kind of losing that ability to be confident with who we are in real life. We're just like, this is me
Mhm.
online. That sometimes we fall flat in person. So if you can hone in on that first and then bring that same energy to online, I think you're going to be doing really, really well.
Yeah.
But
Be
I
who
get
you
it.
are in real life online, right? Don't be this fake ass person on social media and then in real life you're someone completely different. Like, come on now.
That was me. That was me for a long. I think that's why I
Yeah.
burned out really badly. I don't know about yourself, but I think that happened to me.
Because I think it would be exhausting. Like you're putting on
It's
this
so
like
exhausting.
facade that like you're this person of like whatever you want to like people to view you as, and then in real life you're just like, oh, let's let me.
Well, and unfortunately, it's also manipulative, and you're
Mhm.
trying to control the narrative, and like you
Yeah,
should really just let people think what they're going to think about you because you can't really control how they're going to feel.
but that's
Isn't it
scary.
horrible? I hate that so much. I hate it. I'm like, no, but why don't you like me? I tried so hard. I say all that, but I'm like, but I want you to like me. But that's real.
It
I mean,
is.
we're
And
just
I think that's the
human.
hardest part because it's like you can't control what other people think, but you want everyone to like you. So you're just like always on eggshells. And I think that's the hardest thing to do is just like, you're just like, fuck. Like, what do I need to do for you
Literally.
to like me? Like,
I mean, do you feel like this? I mean, do you ever feel invisible? Oh, that's so sad. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Honestly, like, and it's like in those moments, like the worst part of feeling that way is like if you're in a group of people and you're just like, oh, just here with me still, like kind of
Oh,
thing. Like, you
that's
know
the
what I
worst
mean? Like,
feeling.
you're just like,
Yeah.
I'm here, and there's like a shit ton of people here, but like you're just like in your head, and you're just like, oh, like, do I do this? Will this person be judging me? Like, what is this person thinking of me? And it's just like a constant
Totally.
like battle and conversation inside your head. You're to a point where you exhaust yourself, and you're just like, okay, I want to go home.
Oh, see, that's so sad. We don't want that. We don't want that for you.
That's real though.
Oh, but I think ultimately we also are very self-interested individual and creatures because
Mhm.
ultimately people aren't really thinking about you that much. They're just thinking about what about
Yeah.
me? Like what if they perceive
And
like
that's the thing is like
everybody's
it's
just
just
thinking
all
about
mentally,
themselves.
it's all in your
Yes.
head. Like you're just like, what is this person thinking about me? And it's probably like they're sitting there thinking about like what the hell they want for dinner.
Yeah, literally. Oh my gosh, that's such a good point.
You walk in a room and you're
Sorry.
just like, fuck, everyone's staring at me. No, they're not.
That was one of the biggest things in my 20s that I had to like really
Are
figure
you
out. It was
30?
like almost there. I got 2 more
Uh,
years left,
I
but
was like, you said it
I'm
like
getting
you're not in
there.
your 20s anymore.
I well, they're almost over, thank God, but
I've never
in my
heard someone
20s
say
it's just
that.
like
Thank
so
God I'm
happy.
almost
It was the
30.
worst. It was worst. But oh, I'm so excited for 40s. I hear 40s are where you really sorry. All right, back to the topic.
Like,
I'm
girl, I don't even want to turn 30 next year. Like, what?
Oh, that's all right. I'm so ready. Because you're still hot. You're still awesome, but you are so sure of yourself. That's what I love about like the idea of being 30, 40, 50. I'm just
you're gonna
so
be
excited
you're
to
gonna
be
be
sure of
30,
myself.
30, flirty, and thriving.
Yes, girl, that's what I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be weird as shit when I'm 30. I'm gonna be doing all the things I wish I could have done when I was 20. That's gonna be awesome.
Rock
Anyway,
on.
sorry. What a weird sidetrack thing. Anyway, do we want to do our final takeaways?
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
can wrap this up here. I think the biggest thing for me is like being a content creator, you're always gonna have those moments of like your glows and your grows. But I think being a content creator, you just need to understand that you're gonna have more grow moments than glow moments, especially when you're first getting started. The glow moments will come, they feel amazing. And I think it's one of those things where I kind of try to remind myself is like, remember how you felt in that moment because you can always recreate that in a different space in a different way, or you could have something even better. So it's kind of like once you see it once, you're just like, oh, like you crave for it even more. But I think once you hit it, you're just like, oh shit, like I gotta stay there. And that's when you can kind of start to reach those burnouts, that content fatigue and the self-doubt
Mm.
where it's just like, okay, like why isn't it doing it again? So it's like one of those things where being patient with yourself, understanding that this is a journey, you're gonna have those lessons, you're gonna have those learning moments of what you could do differently. But I think it's being not necessarily fully consistent, but it's being purpose driven and not being perfectionism driven, where it's like, don't be perfect driven, be purpose driven. So I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is just be true to yourself, continue to do what you want to do and ignite that fire in you and ignite your why. Like do what you're supposed to do. Like this is your purpose, live your dream, do it for you, don't do it for anyone else, and just be the best content creator or whatever you want to be in your life. Like just do it. What about you?
I would even say like if you're not where you want to be, like quality wise, guess what? You're gonna have to put in the work to be where you want to be.
Hmm.
I think it's a combination of discipline, of hard work, and then luck. I'm sorry, there is a little bit of luck in there because the algorithm is.
Yeah.
I've already talked about that, but that's my takeaway. It's just like discipline, hard work, and luck, and just
Yeah.
keep
Don't
on
focus on the
going.
numbers. Don't focus on the numbers. Don't focus on how many likes you're getting, how many followers you're getting, or how many plays or streams you're getting. Like it will come over time. I think the biggest thing is just do it for you. Do
Mhm.
it for you. Don't do it for anyone else. That's what it comes down to. So I want to say
But
thank you.
Austin, where
What?
can the people find you? Where
I
where
was
are you?
literally
What's your
about to get to that.
Well, I want to know.
So I just want to say, well, first, thank you for taking the time out of your day to hop on the pod. And this was very like last minute, and I feel like it was a great conversation. And if you're
So
watching this
fun.
right now, I appreciate you. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you stop what you're doing, hit that like button, follow us, subscribe to us, turn that post notification bell on so you never miss an episode. We're trying to hit 150 subscribers on YouTube. We're at 115. So let's get this going. So really stop what you're doing, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn the post notification bell on so you never miss an episode. And if you're just listening to this on audio, you can find us on all social media platforms at Ignyte Your Why. That's on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you want to find us, we are there. Just make sure you go give us a follow. We do have a personal channel on Instagram. It's on my personal page. It's at Austin T. Gullett. So make sure you give me a follow on there. But I think that's all my social medias there. Do you want to give yourself a shout out, Erica?
Well, you can find me on YouTube, Erica Almquist. I think it's technically like zero officially Erica, which is the same as my Instagram for music. Now, all right, well, we've got an Instagram page for photography. Don't you worry. It is erica.almquist. I'm not going to link everything else because I have 10 million social media links. But I did want to say there's one piece of content that I'm really proud of that's out there right now, and that's my Twilight Zone Ariana Grande a cappella arrangement cover. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah, go check it out. Again, thank you, Erica, for taking the time out of the day. And thank you all for tuning in. I love you guys so, so much. And you are the reason why I continue to do this. Make sure you guys tune in every episode. I love you again. Always remember, find your purpose, ignite your why, and we'll holler at you later. Peace.